Are you guys ready?
Yeah, let's get started.
All right. Are you guys ready?
Recording in progress.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to record, just put it in the chat. We're going to get started with Coach Curtin. After his opening statement, we'll go right into questions.
Yeah, thanks, Nico. Just to reflect back on DC United, and a night where, we started a little bit slow, but I think came into the game, scored some important goals, and as has been the story a lot this season, we know we're capable of playing some pretty amazing soccer, but what we haven't done is do it for the complete 90 minutes. And I'm not saying the perfect 90 minutes, a complete 90 minutes. And that's been our focus this week, in stressing to the players, let's do it from minute 1 through minute 90, like the Philadelphia Union, at the level that we're capable of playing at. So we have a tough test now with Orlando coming into town, a team that's very well coached by Oscar Pareja, a team that has some really good quality individual pieces, and a team that is hungry for points, coming off I thought, an unfair result in their last game. So a dangerous opponent. We know at Subaru Park our fans will be behind us. We'll need them to be extra loud tomorrow and cheer us on to a great performance and a great result.
Thanks, Jim. Jonathan Tannewell.
Jim, it would seem, at least from the outside, that your two most expensive strikers are at the doghouse a bit at the moment. Ty's been there for a couple of weeks now, and you put Michael there. At least you seemed to last Saturday with what you said. What has this week been like in that regard?
Yeah, look, we know what Mikel is capable of. Obviously in soccer, strikers have more pressure to score goals. That's the reality. The guys who make the most money get the most pressure, and then those usually are the guys that score the goals. So we have full confidence that Mikel will get going. That's for sure. We know that front three and how lethal they can be when they're all on the same page. I would always say, as you analyze them over the past years and the 100+ goals that they've scored between them, there's always stretches where we usually have 2 out of the 3 going pretty good, and that actually can sustain us, and that can get us results. I think at the beginning of the year, maybe just Julian was going good, and Danny was finding his form as well. In the recent games, Danny's been incredibly sharp, and now we lose to Julian, so we haven't had two of them going together for a good run of games. For whatever reason, injuries, stop-start, different variables go into it. But I think you guys know that's going to be the front three that takes us as far as we're going to go this season. And it's okay that they're not in perfect form right now. But like I said, to get 2 of them clicking at a time is something that's important. And this is a big game for Mikel. It's a big opportunity for him. Obviously, Julian is suspended with yellow cards, so we'll miss him. We'll miss our one of our top players, which is natural. And again, now we want to get Mikel going. Ty, actually, to his credit, has had a really good week of training. So that part is positive. And he's, I think could get some minutes this game, depending how it goes. Obviously, I think he worked hard this week. Obviously, we're a little short without Julian being there. But you're right. It's an important stretch of games for our strikers.
Sit down and talk with Michael this week about where things are. Is that
He knows. He knows what he's capable of. He also just had a child, so there's always variables off the field as well that complicate things. And family always comes first, and that is always priority number 1. But again, the reality of all strikers, and Mikel would be the one to tell you this, is they're going to be judged by how many times the ball hits the back of the net, and that's the reality. We still want him to do all the defensive work that we require, but at the same time, now in this stadium, he has a way of doing big things, and we know that during this busy stretch now, where we have 3 games coming up in quick succession, we're going to need him to be at his best.
One more from me, which is that when Quinn is the second forward, formations are semantics, but still, you can play it as a 4-4-2 as you did last week, whatever the forward midfield is. or you played it as sort of a 4-3-2-1 a couple times. With Quinn pulling back a little bit on a line with Daniel and 3 guys behind them. How much of a difference does that make, do you think?
Yeah, look, I always say, good soccer players can adjust to different positions, and I think Quinn, if you think big picture, and you talk about now teams watching him and scouting him, it's good to have flexibility. So I think he's played some great games on the right side of the diamond. I think he's played some great games where it looked a little more like a winger and almost even a wing back that just is responsible for the whole sidelines, and you saw some great performances with that. He's had great moments and has made big plays for us even as a second striker. Is he going to be a back to goal number 9 target in the box? That's probably not in his skill set. But when he comes off underneath the striker and finds a pocket, call it a second 10, a false 9, whatever semantics you want to use, like you said, at the end of the day, Quinn's a playmaker. That's really what he is. And that's an important thing to have in any team. That's the thing a coach wants. And now I talked with Quinn about this. It's okay. Not a lot of people play a diamond in the world of football too. So, as scouts look at him, they're going to try and decide what is his best way to help that team. And it's very good for him that he is versatile. He takes information. He improves things. He's improved a lot on the defensive side. He can still go to another level on the defensive side. And he'll get better and better with age. I think we forget sometimes he's 19 still, so he's taking in a lot of information, played a lot of different spots for us. Sometimes out of just doing what the team needs that week, based on the matchup, based on who's in, who's out, who's suspended, who's injured. And he's a guy that I would categorize as a guy who's had a great season so far. Will continue to get better each game. But you're right, has been called upon to do a lot of different things, and I think has done them really well.
Hey, Jim. To the point of the slow starts and some of the mistakes that have been made in defense, I mean, it seems like they're still more mental errors than
right.
Physical errors. How do you approach that, knowing that 75 minutes of these games are defensively solid, but there's a few mistakes that creep in and end up costing you guys?
I think you nailed it, Joe, right? These are professionals, so they know when, as an example, we talk all week about long balls played to Benteke's head. You might not win the first one, but everybody has to tuck in and cover. You're taught that at a very young age, and our guys know when they don't execute or make silly mistakes. We've conceded goals from 50-yard own goals and strange 50-yard goals from Seattle. I think they're uncharacteristic goals. I agree with you, but they're happening, and we have to eliminate that. As professionals now, am I going to sit and break down some of these strange plays that have happened? No, the highest level players, the best defenders, the best teams understand when goals are conceded that are unacceptable, and I think that we won't harp on that. We'll move forward. Having said that, the focus this week, I've done a good job, I think, of not talking about the start or scoring first or keeping a clean sheet or whatever semantics you want to use. It's more a complete 90 minutes. We've seen us, guys, and you've seen it, some of the goals and the attacking moments we've had. It's really, really been fun to watch, but we haven't done it and sustained it for 90 minutes. So, again, it's not about a perfect 90 minutes, but it's about that complete 90 minutes, and that's what gets rewarded with 3 points in this league, which week to week is really, really hard to do. But we've done a great job of that in Subaru Park, finding ways to get wins.
And then on the injury front, how is Andre feeling? And is there any update, I guess, on any of the other guys that, I guess Marcus, who have been out for a few weeks?
Yeah, Andre's getting closer. Still not fully back training with us. Marcus is training off to the side. I think he'll be available to fully resume training on Sunday. Was there another name in there, Joe? Sorry.
I think that's
Olivier also with his calf. I think he'll miss tomorrow, but hopefully be able to resume training at some point next week.
Julia?
Hi, Jim. You mentioned in the last game how impressed you were with Leon Flock's performance.
Yeah.
Can you touch on the benefit of rotating him and Jack on the left side, partnering with Kai, and how that can pose challenges to other teams?
Yeah, I think with Leon, first and foremost, it's just great to see him back on the field with a smile on his face. I don't think people understand how lonely it is with injuries, with serious injuries. He had a surgery to a pectoral muscle, which doesn't happen often in soccer, literally on the first, I think it was the second training session total of preseason. So, and then before that, obviously had injuries last year that kept him out for, the better part of 7-8 months. So he's always a guy that's in good shape physically and can run and fight and will do anything for the team to win. But to see him out on the field in DC to step in and seamlessly play really well for us, it's a great addition to the group. It's a guy who can be a starter for 34 games for you. He always is, for the most part, usually healthy and going. So he's had a couple fluke, strange injuries. But it was great to have him back. He provides such great ball winning and defensive work rate for the group, and then is underrated with the ball as well, with his decision making, doing the simple things, connecting his passes, and it was great to have him back.
Lewis?
Thanks, Nico. Jim, when you look at this team scoring-wise, you guys are the only team in MLS that's scoring 10 straight games. I know we've talked the last couple of years where the offense is usually the last thing to get clicking for you guys. What do you attribute to getting you guys to score in every single game so far this season?
Yeah, I think in the Eastern Conference, only outside of what Messi and Miami are doing in the East anyway, we're towards the top in goals scored, which is a good thing because the hardest thing to do in the sport is score goals. We need to fix the defensive side, and I will say it's as simple as the consistency of the back line and the goalkeeper, has changed a lot this year for a lot of different reasons, and I have full confidence once we get the group fully back and everybody playing at their max at the same time, we'll be a team that'll, start to get those clean sheets and with that come points. So you're right. The goals are coming, which is good. Like I said, we've scored some really, really good goals. Also strange too, and we brought this up with the amount of, watching the Champions League games and the margins of the VAR calls and the offsides. Strangely, there have been, I feel like, just Danny Gazdag alone, 15 calls this year where some have gone for us for goals, some have gone against us. Flags are up, flags are down. It really, the margins are razor thin. So we've scored a lot of goals, that have been called back that have been inches. So that part is good. But now we have to, as a team, tighten up the defensive side, which has really been our trademark over the last 5 seasons.
All right, any final questions? Thanks, Jim. Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you.